Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Real Talk podcast. This is episode 11. I am your host, as usual, Jacob Rice, and I'm joined by Jared Kidder.
Hello.
We've seen a couple of movies this week. There is one review out for Long Shot, which Jared is going to talk about in a moment.
Yeah.
And we saw Detective Pikachu a few days ago. Review will be out tomorrow.
Yes.
Or today, depending on how quick I am editing and releasing this podcast. I think we'll start with Long Shot because we probably have more to say about Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, because we both saw
because that's a long-standing franchise that we've had dealings with for extended amount of time.
Yeah.
Long Shot, go for your life.
Okay, so yeah, as you said, I went out and I went to go see Long Shot, and I've been looking forward to this movie because I haven't seen a good Seth Rogen movie in a while. It was different than what I was expecting. It was a lot different than what I was. I thought I was going to go in and see like a classic Seth Rogen going and getting high all the time and all that kind of crap. But yeah, this character, because the story is that it's based around this guy Fred Fraskley or something like that. I'm not good with names, especially with characters. He's a reporter he's a free world reporter, and he's trying to take the world by storm, trying to change the world for the better. And then you also have this politician who's also trying to do that, but she's trying to do it in her own way. And then somewhere along the line, they end up meeting, and they end up needing each other because he's a good writer, and she's a politician who needs speeches written, and she needs to be liked by the people, and he's a likable character, and that will come out in her speeches. And then as it goes on, a bit of a romance starts, and people are trying to pull them apart, and people are trying to tell them that it won't work. And then ultimately I'm not gonna. Hopefully that doesn't spoil the movie for you, but that's how it comes across in the trailers. If I'm not mistaken, if that's a spoiler for you.
Yeah, no, I gathered that from the trailers, and I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, that's basically it. It's something you've seen it before, but you've definitely seen something like this before, but it's done in a bit of a different way. The way I kind of thought of it, and it's in the review too. It's kind of like Pretty Woman, but the Pretty Woman is a overweight Jewish stoner.
Fantastic.
Which I find is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean it is hilarious. I see where you're coming from. It's something we've seen before with a new twist on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I feel like is the best you can really hope for these days, because like the movies have been made for 60, 70 years at this point, and like to come up with a brand new, like never before seen idea is becoming increasingly more difficult. So the best you can hope is to,
like, can I just say, everything has been done movie wise.
Yeah.
Everything's been, but the difference between a good filmmaker and someone who's just ripping off films is that a good filmmaker will use different films and will take notes from that film and try to make something that is something similar but with their own flair to it. A shitty filmmaker will just steal ideas.
Yeah, so like it's
but
like finding a film, taking a story that we've seen before but from a different perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've all seen romances. We know how it goes. This is no different, but I found it really funny. I was smiling all the way. I was smiling all the way through. I was laughing my ass off at a few scenes. I loved the fact that Boyz II Men were in it. They weren't in it for... I'm a huge Boyz II Men fan. There was a few. There was one scene in particular that felt like it was just in there just for the point of getting laughs.
Yeah.
I understand why they did it. This movie is a comedy. They did it to get laughs, but also it didn't do anything to further the plot of the story. And that was kind of a bummer for me. That being said, didn't drag it down at all. There are a few things in this movie that kind of made us like, oh, that could have been a little bit shorter, or I wish that was a little bit longer. Some of it did kind of feel a little bit rushed, but at no point in the movie was I looking down at my phone or was I looking at my watch and I was like, oh god, when's this going to end? But no, and what was I saying? Oh, kind of. But okay, so I'm just gonna finish it off by saying I enjoyed it. I think other people will enjoy it, and I really liked it. Sorry, I put all my descriptiveness about it in my review.
No, that's fair. So yeah, if you want to know more about it, and,
it's a good movie.
like you want to read about it, the articles are always on our site, which you can get to through our links on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. We upload it regularly. It's on our Twitter accounts and everything.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, the star rating was
I gave it a 3.5.
3.5. That's pretty good for a comedy. I find comedies usually sit at like the 2.5, 3 star.
Yeah.
Because
I wanted to give it
forced
more.
humor.
I wanted to give it more, but for the comedy didn't feel forced, and also the romance, you bought it, and that's the whole, and that's like that can make or break a good romance. Is if you don't buy the romance, then there's no point. There's no point to it. For this, I bought these two. I could see these two going out on a date. I could see that.
Yeah.
But like, say, 50 Shades of Grey, for example, that makes no sense.
I wouldn't know. I've never seen it.
I had to see it.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Well, there you go. Go and see Long Shot if you're looking for like a feel-good movie, and the reviews up. So give that a read if you're still not sure.
It's a good date movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you go by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Hey, you're never alone when you.
What movie you didn't go to see by yourself? Detective Pikachu. We saw that together on a less cute date. I really enjoyed it.
Oh man, I loved it. I loved it. It was so adorable.
I feel like it struck a really good balance between nostalgia for the parents, or as it were, bearded men who've gone to see a movie together. As well as like mixing a bit of the new stuff in for like the new generation of kids who are experiencing Pokemon as it is now.
Yeah.
You weren't a huge Pokemon fan growing up, so I feel like maybe there was a few like nostalgic moments that missed for you.
I mean, I watched it growing up, but I didn't like. I know Team Rocket. I know Meowcat, their sidekick,
Meowth?
and I know. Is that what it's called?
Meowth, yeah.
Meowth. I always thought it was Meowcat.
No, it is not the weird cousin of Nyancat.
Nyancat. I love the names of these Pokemon, but no, there were Pokemon in there that I knew, and there were Pokemon in there that I didn't know. But in this movie, if you don't know some of the Pokemon, it doesn't really matter because it all gets explained to you with like throughout the movie.
Yeah, it is. It's perfectly balanced. Like I can see. It's good for kids because it's got like the little cute Pokemon in it. And it's got all these moments. There's a few jokes on behalf of Ryan Reynolds that definitely got snuck past the censors. You were a bit like, oh, that was a bit close to the line.
But you know
like
what?
Kids aren't gonna understand it.
No,
and,
but
that's
parents,
like the perfect balance, isn't it?
Yeah, but the parents who go to take these kids to see it, they will get it because there's humor in there for the parents, not just for the kids as well.
Yeah, and have you ever gone back and watched old Disney movies?
Yeah.
There are some jokes in there.
Oh, there's so many sexual innuendos.
And it sort of lands like that. It doesn't.
It was written at a different time.
Yeah, 100%. And there's like a few like low key dark moments. There's like a
Pikachu.
like a not torture scene.
Oh yeah, that was intense.
Which is a bit weird. Like nothing obviously horrific happens. It's still a PG movie.
Yeah.
But the implication behind it is a bit hazy.
I mean, in the comic, the Detective Pikachu comic
is a bit darker. Yeah.
Is a lot darker because I saw a snippet of it today because it popped up on my popped up on my feed.
Which particular scene?
It was the scene when he's talking about like the Dido, like the underground Dido sex dungeon.
Oh, the Ditto sex dungeon.
Yeah.
Luckily, most of that stuff, well, all of that stuff's been cut. The closest you get to that is you get the underground Pokemon battles.
Yeah, which is like nowhere near as dark as
and it's awesome because it is. They've done a really good job of taking a cartoon and bringing it into the real world
Yeah.
and making it seem believable. Like, obviously, you lost some aspects of the cartoon, like the weird, like, getting hit by a Pokemon move and just flying through the air and being shot into space and then somehow being miraculously okay.
Yeah.
But then the Pokemon battles feel real, like that's how they would play out.
Yeah, and for me, like, I've always wanted to see like an actual Pokemon battle take place. I've always wanted to know what it would look like to see their powers used on each other, and not just like use this and then it switches to their side and then their health goes down. So it's actually really satisfying to see a Pokemon battle, an actual Pokemon battle.
Like running around a room and
yeah,
like trying to dodge each other's attacks and
yeah.
like, it's not,
also kind of cruel when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. It's
glorified
it goes from
cockfighting.
being like a trainer stood in one corner going use flamethrower, and the other one standing in one corner going try not to get hit by that flamethrower until it's your go, and it's like actual like the Pokemon do it more or less for you.
Yeah.
Which is cool to see, and then you get like there's some really really good nostalgic nods in it, like me and you did exactly the same thing when they jump to the newsroom and they're having the interview, and in the background they've got like a newsroom, like a deep version of the old school Pokemon theme.
Oh yeah.
In the background, which is awesome, and that theme is used once more again later, which I won't spoil for you. It's fantastic.
I loved Ryan Reynolds in it, man. He was perfect for it.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. And
So far, he's been perfect for every role he's been in.
Yeah, it just goes to prove that when he has a passion for some source material, he'll go out of his way to make it as close to that as possible. In some aspects, even improving it.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Like after that, you know what else I liked about this movie is that, and I cannot stress how happy I am that they didn't do it. They stayed true to the source material.
Yeah,
They didn't change anything. They didn't try to be like really creative with an already creative franchise. They just said people like this, so let's put Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu and let's just give him a live action Pokemon movie, and everyone loves it because that's exactly what they gave us.
yeah.
And
Which
instead they didn't pull a Sonic.
yeah, well, I was about to bring that up too.
There's so many memes on it now.
It actually makes it worse because Detective Pikachu has come out now.
Yeah.
We've seen it. It does a really good job of bringing like a beloved video game from the past.
Yeah.
That was a cartoon.
Yep.
And they've brought it to live action and they've made it look realistic, still kind of cartoony, but enough that it fits.
Yeah.
And make it work with a good sense of humor.
Yep.
And then just before this movie has come out, which everyone's excited for and like is really happy with how everything looks,
Yeah.
they released the Sonic trailer, which looks like garbage.
Oh yeah. I mean, I understand what they would do, but the whole point of Sonic is that he's a Sonic that is super fast. You know, he collects. Are they rings?
The rings, yeah.
He collects rings, and he is a hedgehog, but he doesn't look like a hedgehog. You know what I mean? He's a video game. He's a cartoon. So is Pikachu. They made him look like the cartoon.
Yeah, and I know we talked about Sonic a little bit last week, and there is an article out on it now where I do a full breakdown on why people are so upset.
Nice plug.
So I'll try not to go into it too much now. But yeah, he looks like, I think I described him in the article as looking less like an anthropomorphic hedgehog and looking more like the love child of Goku and Smurfette. Which honestly is the closest I can get to like an actual description, because it really is an abomination. I have since then come up with a theory that maybe the Sonic you saw in the trailer was never intended to be the original character, and it was just a marketing ploy, which I know is a stretch, but the speed that they came out with an apology saying they were going to redesign it, rather than defending it like most people would do, makes me think that maybe they weren't being 100% honest in the first place.
Maybe. You never. I mean, like, there's no such thing as bad press, but there is.
I mean, I disagree.
There is, though.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Cosby. I'm just saying, like,
Not on this podcast.
I mean, I'm not going to go into it. You either know what it is or you don't, but there is such thing as bad publicity. Yeah. I mean, we could, yeah, let's just go with that.
Trying to keep our dark sense of humor off our podcast.
Yeah. Let's yeah. Rapidly change the subject. We'll work together to change the subject.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of working together, there's a new co-op game coming out. We watched the trailer for it. You watched it today. I watched it yesterday.
How did I not get that segue?
I know. There's a fourth one there. That's fine. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I made you watch the trailer before the podcast because I'm super excited for it. I watched it yesterday, and it spurred me to write an article, which will be coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
There you go. Just randomly plugging myself all the way through this podcast today.
Nice.
So, for those who aren't familiar with the Ghost Recon series, they've been going for 15, 20 years. I was playing Ghost Recon on the PS2. It was probably one of the first PS3 games I played. Was Advanced Warfare?
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Recon 2 Advanced Warfare? Advanced Soldier? Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I put it in the article a little bit. It was one of the only games, or it's got some of my best gaming memories. Is like me and my brother coming home from school, and there's that hour of us playing games together, like working as a team and like trying to get through areas and using the different abilities that you've got, and like gelling them together so you can get it. It's the same thing for like Borderlands is the same sort of business but more cartoony.
Yeah.
And it's got that teamwork aspect to it, which I feel like you can play the campaign as single player, but for me it doesn't have the same magic to it.
Yeah.
As like you get, because this has been confirmed as a 4-player co-op. There's like you see the four classes, like 4 separate characters in the trailer.
Yeah.
Where you get the guy with the bandana and the beard.
Also,
who is
it's pretty.
also,
it's
yeah,
a
beautiful
dope
beard win.
Yeah, dope beard. As
Yeah.
two guys with beards, dope beard.
Yeah. Yeah, so like he's he looks to be like the standard assault class.
Yeah.
And then you see the chick with the ponytail who kind of looks like Sonya Blade. And she's clearly like your stealth expert person, and then you jump on and you see the black guy with the goggles on and the rocket launcher, and he's obviously your demolition expert. And then later on you see like the I think he's Asian. He looks to be like Japanese or Korean or something.
Yep.
And he's the sniper. He's like your sniper class. So it's like it's a diverse crew of people with like special abilities and skills, and like you get to pick those and work together, and you get to pick like the way you play the game best.
Yeah.
And then find a way to gel that with a team. And I love games like that. I love games where it's not like Call of Duty or Battlefield or even things like Apex, which I've been known to play, and Fortnite, where it's just like it throws a whole bunch of people into a map and they're like, go and kill each other. There's like, it becomes stuff like that is like, obviously there's a skill aspect to it, but it's basically like who is quick enough to pull a trigger. There's very little like talent or like planning involved.
Yeah.
Whereas games like this, where you're forced to work together,
Yeah.
there's like that communication and like teamwork involved in it. I love games like that.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that we'll probably be live streaming it, and maybe doing like a let's play through it.
I mean, I'd definitely do either of those things
when it comes out, which I'm keen. Like we want to do the same thing for Borderlands. We're working on that, so hopefully that's up and running for September when it comes out.
Yeah.
Fun fact: Tom has already gone out and pre-ordered it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's when you know a game looks good, is when my brother decides he's going to go and pre-order it, because he just doesn't pre-order games.
I tell you what, like we haven't played Mortal Kombat yet. I really want to play that game.
No, we haven't. Monday?
Monday?
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, Monday we'll go. I'll go and I'll get a copy of Mortal Kombat 11 because
I mean, I'll put in for it.
because I've been keen to play it anyway.
Yeah.
And we'll go 1-on-1. We'll do a couple of rounds on. We'll live Twitch and stream. So for everyone listening, Monday at we'll say 1 o'clock.
Now I'm cool
Monday
with
at 1 o'clock, we will log on to Twitch and we will live stream. Me and Big Fudge will be going one-on-one. If you're listening and you want us to play as particular characters, feel free to comment, send us messages, and we'll play as those characters.
Yeah.
We'll give it a crack.
I reckon
maybe if Tom's around, we'll
do like die by die.
We'll switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We will only be able to have 2 voices on at a time.
Yeah.
Because we're still working out sound for Twitch and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's.
That'd be easier. Like that'd be an easy one to play. Like,
yeah,
to
because
talk
it's like,
and play at the same time.
Yeah, because you sort of, and we all suck at it, so that's fine.
Have you seen me play?
No.
I'm good.
Yeah, I've heard that before. The real dark horse. Oh,
What does that mean? What does that mean?
You're the dark horse of Mortal Kombat. It's the only game you're good at.
Yeah.
I'm deeply sorry I said that.
No, that's alright. Don't take offense to that. I know I'm good at it.
Yeah, well that's fair.
Sorry.
Alright, well from the Dark Horse to the Dark Phoenix.
You're just,
I'm getting really, really good at this.
you're getting really good. Maybe you should just...
Maybe we should just do segues and not actually talk about any of the subjects.
Oh
Just see how badly I can mess that up.
Oh, when we get sponsors, you'll be great.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor us, hit us up.
Give us money.
I'll segue you into existence. So yeah, you've seen the Dark Phoenix trailer now. Before we talk about the Dark Phoenix movie, how do you feel about X-Men as a franchise?
I feel like it's... Alright. I mean, like, it's kind of all over the place now.
It is. You a fan of the comics?
I never read the comics. I was never really an X-Men comic fan.
No, that's fair. I mean, I feel like there's
more of a Phantom
so many... Phantom?
I knew that was going to stop you in your tracks. Yes, I like the Phantom.
Yeah, me too. It's awesome. Yeah, I feel like there's so many different series of comics now that, or even back then, when we were growing up. God, back then makes me sound like I'm old.
We are old.
You're 21.
Yeah.
I'm 24. Neither of us are old. But yeah, I feel like there's so many different comic book franchises and stuff now, like, just around, that to be a fan of all of them is almost impossible. For obvious reasons.
Sure.
But it's hard watching the X-Men movie franchise now because it was one of the first. Like, it was Spider-Man and then it was X-Men, and they were like the first
superhero movies.
Well,
they weren't.
outside of like Superman and Batman, they were the first Marvel movies.
They were the first Well,
actually, I think you'll find the first Marvel movie was Blade.
Was it?
Yeah, pretty sure it was.
That came out before Spider-Man.
Before Spider-Man, yeah.
Okay.
Blade 1 was before Spider-Man. But that's a Marvel movie without being a Marvel movie.
I would actually... Man, I can't wait till...
I'd like to see Blade in the MCU.
I think that's where they're going to go from here.
Yeah, it does seem that way. It seems like one half's going to go very cosmic and the other half's going to go sort of like that dark
I would like to see like a... kind of like them take more of a... Because I know they already did Defenders.
Yeah.
The TV show. Wasn't a huge fan of that. But...
No.
If they could do it... Because now they have announced... Oh wait, can I even talk about that? I mean, the clip's up, I suppose. It's on YouTube.
What clip?
There's a clip from the new Spider-Man Far From Home when he's talking to Mysterio.
Yeah, as long as we'll avoid endgame spoilers for now. But yeah.
But it's when he's talking to Mysterio and he goes, "Oh, I could use someone like you on my world." It's like, your world? It's like, yeah, you're from Earth 616.
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah, that's when he
and that was like
says he's from they hint to the multiverse.
Yeah.
Which I suspect, given the Mysterio's history in the comics, that it's a load of crap and he's trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. But it's interesting to or he's probably using an actual event as a cover for whatever he's trying to get up to. But that's all theorizing. Maybe we'll do a theory video.
Again?
on just Spider-Man, like a short one.
Okay.
Because otherwise we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so Dark Phoenix, they've done the story arc before in X-Men 3: The Last Stand, which everybody can agree is the worst X-Men movie, possibly the worst comic book movie ever made.
It is bad. I wouldn't say it's the worst one ever made.
Batman and Robin?
Spider-Man 3 is up there.
Yeah. There have been some bad.
There have been some bad ones.
And then they obviously had X-Men First Class, where they set up a new franchise, and they had Days of Future Past, where they wiped all of the other movies from existence, which is mildly annoying.
Yeah.
And now you've got they're having another crack at a really good like comic book story arc, which was so good that even the cartoon managed to do justice.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that's a cartoon for children. And then somehow Bryan Singer managed to... Wait, no, I don't think it was Bryan Singer. It was Brett Ratner.
Yeah.
He's a terrible person.
Brett Ratner.
Yeah.
Why?
Because have you seen his movies? They suck.
If they sucked, I probably wouldn't have seen them.
Fair. So, like, now they're doing it again, and it looks good, but then I found that the X-Men, the Fox trailers for their movies look really, really good, and then the movie comes out, and they suck. Suck ass. Like, the worst. Like, I was really disappointed with Apocalypse.
Yeah, I was too. I wanted that to be good, but I walked out thinking to myself, man, did that suck? I've been disappointed with the way, with the X-Men universe so far, because I was really looking forward to is it New Mutants?
New Mutants, yeah.
I was really looking forward to that. They are still going ahead with it, but I think they're redoing it.
Is that the horror movie style one with Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really, really good.
Until they said, "Oh, I don't think we're gonna make it as a horror one."
Yeah, which I feel like if they're reshooting it now, because it had the picture shoot finished ages ago, didn't it? And
yeah,
now they're reshooting a lot of it.
It was supposed to come out
February this year. So it's supposed to be out already.
It was supposed to come out 2018. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's right.
But then it got pushed back.
And then it got pushed back, and now they're reshooting it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're just going to cut it to shreds, and it won't be what it was supposed to be.
So either that they had a look at the script, and they just didn't like it, or they had a look at some of the shots and it just didn't go with what they wanted, or maybe it just didn't work as a horror as they wanted it to, even though everyone wanted it, because New Mutants is basically a horror, sort of. I mean, it takes place in an asylum.
It's strange. Do you think they backed out from the horror aspect because of Brightburn? That maybe they think because, I mean, for those of you who haven't seen the Brightburn trailer, basically looks like Superman if Superman was a horror movie villain.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. And it looks creepy, and like we were talking about the little clip they released in the diner.
That is such
today,
a creepy...
which it's creepy, and like the use of sound and like shots, and the way you even said where they film it from her point of view, and you can see like where her eye was bleeding.
Yeah.
And like that looks creepy. Do you think maybe they've looked at that and they've gone, ours isn't as good, so why don't we change genres?
I don't think so, because Brightburn, not the idea, but like Brightburn, it got set out for a release long before New Mutants. I doubt that it would have anything to do with that. If anything, it would probably start a new genre of like horror, of superhero horror.
Yeah.
Which would be a cool genre to go into, which I feel that the Marvel MCU will start to go down. They might go into Marvel, like the MCU, like the dark MCU.
Yeah, actually, while we're on that note, I haven't added it to our list of things we're going to talk about. The Watchmen TV show.
Yeah.
While we're on sort of like the dark.
Yeah, the
dark sort of comic book series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I loved it.
How would you think they're going to set that? Because from what I was seeing, it looks like it's almost a sequel to the movie. Not a direct sequel, but it's set like after the events because it's got things like the cult of Rorschach and
Yeah.
stuff that was added to sort of. It's almost like it was the. It looks more like the Doomsday Clock story arc
Yeah.
rather than like the original
So
Watchmen.
I think, and this is purely just my speculation, that it is after the events of. So you watched the original one.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the end of it, Rorschach dies because he was going to tell them all what was really going to happen. And
Yeah.
that would
Doctor
jeopardize-
Manhattan explodes him.
Yeah, he just destroys him, but he got his journal out, which had everything
Yeah.
documented. So, and from what it looked like in the TV show trailer is that this has happened a lot later. So I'm thinking probably
Maybe
now.
like a jump to modern times.
A jump to modern times. People I'm assuming people have been talking because there's all this conspiracy. Because even in the movie, at the end of the movie, they say because of what Dr. Manhattan did, because everything was blamed on the Watchmen.
Yeah.
Everything was blamed on these superheroes, and it had nothing to do with, the Russians, had nothing to do with the Americans. Everybody was friends. Everybody was at peace. And there was nothing to write about. Everything was just kind of boring from the perspective of a newspaper. So after everything came out, people started, going after each other again. But just because the Watchmen were gone doesn't mean there weren't any more superheroes.
Yeah.
And I think, and even in the trailer, they say we tried to convince them all. We convinced them all that they were all gone. So maybe it's kind of these heroes are in hiding, or they are. Or maybe that's what the cult of Rorschach is doing. They're hunting down remaining heroes.
Which is funny because that's like a dark, evil version of The Incredibles.
Yeah. When you think about it, The Incredibles, that's a really good storyline.
It is a really good storyline. Have you
Heroes-
seen the new one?
Yes, I have.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's alright.
I watched it the other day. I really enjoyed it.
Could have gone without the 14-year wait.
Yeah, I mean, well, I could have done without the 14-year wait. Didn't make the movie any worse.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said it was alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off topic.
But yeah.
Yeah, so we're getting like a lot of sort of like dark horror movie style or like horror style comic book things as we move into the future, which I like.
I do
because
like that.
I'm a fan of horror movies.
Yeah.
I like the way they're set out as long as they don't devolve into jump scare after jump scare after jump scare like the Conjuring franchise did.
Yeah.
Because like horror can be clever. Like we saw it with Pet Sematary where there was really like one or two jump scares.
Yeah.
The rest of it was atmosphere, and it was like storyline. It was shot the way things were shot.
Yeah.
And like I hope that's how horror movies are moving forward. Now,
Can I do this one?
yeah,
Speaking of horror movies
and Stephen King.
and Stephen King, did you see the It trailer?
I did see the It trailer.
Oh,
Well done, Jared.
Man, that feels good.
It does feel good.
Feels
Now you
good.
know why I do it all the time. Yeah, so the It Chapter 2 trailer was released, and it was less... Like, the last sort of 30 seconds, 45 seconds was like an actual trailer.
Yeah.
The first minute and a half is just a scene from the movie.
It's a snippet of
Which
scenes,
I assume is...
which is directly from the book, which is like
almost
almost
page
directly,
for page,
almost page for page from the book. Like in the original one, in the first short series that took up 4 discs and it was 4 hours to watch.
Yeah.
It was like pulling teeth out. When she goes back to visit her house, it's creepy, but it's just like a zombie of her dad that just said it's a zombie of her dad that chases her through the house.
Yeah.
But I suppose for the time that was really scary, and then it's Pennywise out on the porch just waving to her.
Yeah.
In this, even when she opens up the door, you can tell that there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
She walks in. Obviously, if you haven't seen it,
Go and watch it.
go and watch it. If you haven't, I don't know, block your ears or something. Take out your headphones for the next minute or two.
No, just listen to us talk about it,
even
and then
if you
get
hear-
excited, and then go and watch the trailer because it's definitely worth. Nobody can put into words what the trailer makes you feel.
Yeah.
Because it's not so much shot. It's not a terrifying shot. I mean, it is towards the end. But like
It's not terrifying.
most of it is it's just like a normal shot. But the way they use music and lighting and stuff like that, and acting, that
grandmother.
the grandmother, even I can't remember what her name is. Is that Bryce Dallas Howard?
Something like that.
It is the chick from Jurassic World, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not her. I don't know what her name is. I completely forgot.
Anyway,
I know who it
that's
is.
irrelevant. So I buggered that up, but that's fine. But yeah, the acting in that scene is what makes you feel tense.
Yeah.
And then you get the whole when she. This is what I like. This is what I'm talking about for clever horror movie. Everything in that scene that is scary, is happening blurred in the background.
Yes.
So like when she looks around and then you see, specifically you see when they're sat on the couch and she first realizes there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Because she sees like the scar on the chest.
Yeah.
And then the grandma lady stands up and walks out, and she walks over to, she looks at a picture on a wall, and then it shows her a picture of the face, and then in the background you see the grandma lean out.
And there's
like
something
stare at her,
Yeah.
but it's completely blurred and you can't see her face.
Yeah.
And then you see her just like slowly move her head back in, and then it like jumps back to another photo and it's looking at a few of those, and then it jumps back to the face and you see her blurred. I assume she's naked.
Yeah.
And she like scuttles. She's walking but wrong.
That's the perfect way to. That honestly, I
Like, because she walks from one side of the door frame to the other. It's blurred. You don't see anything. It's all focused on her face.
Yeah.
But the way she's walking, it just isn't right.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me, like the whole setup to that scene. It reminds me of that scene from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, where they go. It's in part 1 where they walk into the house.
Yes.
And it's the old lady, and she doesn't say anything. She just moves around the house, and then she goes upstairs, and she turns out to be a giant snake. Because it's Harry Potter. Have you not seen? Have you only seen it like once or twice because everyone says it's the worst part?
It is.
It's not. It's okay. Right. Before we get back to that, for people who are saying, "Yeah, Jared's right, it's the worst part," go and read the book, and then go back and watch part 1, and it'll all make sense. Outside of that, but yeah, the whole scene, that horror aspect where it's like she's moving around, you don't know what's happening, you just know it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the best way I could describe when I watched that, I watched that at like 2 when it dropped. I watched it at about I think I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch it when it dropped, and because I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for this movie.
And when I was watching it, it just made me feel uncomfortable. And I think, like, I don't know how they do it. I cannot express how important the use of sound is when it comes to a horror movie.
Yeah.
Especially with this scene. There's something so off-putting, like the sound, and even just like the lack of sound, and just the use of just... Because there's a scene when they're having tea, and then she asks her a question, and then she just stares at her. And it just... Even when you're watching it, because you're pretty much looking through her point of view, so she's staring at you.
Yeah.
And it is so unnerving. It's so...
That
makes you feel
that
like...
That scene when I can't remember what she says. She says something, and then she smiles, and then she halts.
Yeah.
Like she's forgotten what to do next.
Yeah.
And she's like... And she's just like staring with this again, wrong smile.
Yeah.
Like it's a smile, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and that is what makes it freaky. It's like she is doing normal stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not quite right.
Yeah.
Just honestly, because it doesn't give anything away for the movie. From memory, from reading the book and from watching the old school one, that scene is almost the very beginning.
Almost. I think it's before they have like their big...
Because I think, from what I remember, she's the first one to come back.
Yeah, she's the first one back.
So you're talking like this scene will be within the first... I guarantee you within the first half an hour.
Also, is Chris Pratt in this movie?
It was rumoured that he was, but I don't know if he is.
I don't know if he is, because I didn't see him.
He was rumoured to be the main kid from the first one, but that seems to be
The fat kid?
no, the actual main character.
No, that's
But now it's somebody else, which makes me think that I think Chris Pratt was going to do it, but now they're shooting when they held them back for Endgame,
yeah.
which was being filmed at the same time, and now he's doing Guardians 3, so he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Which
Because he would have been perfect. Because I feel like
would
because
have
he
been
was
perfect.
going to be.
I still think the cast they've got,
Is-
I agree with.
Yeah, but I think like he was rumored to be, the fat kid. I don't know his name. I can't remember his name. But he was because in the first half he's a kid, he's chubby and all that kind of stuff, and he's smart,
Yeah.
But then when he grows up to be really, thin, attractive, really successful.
Yeah.
So I feel like Chris Pratt would have been a really good pick for that.
Yeah, because he was
He
chubby guy.
He was the chubby
He was
guy.
funny and like smart and stuff, and now he is
Yeah.
jacked.
And also,
AF.
he has a sense of humor. And that kid in the first one, he had a bit of a sense of humor. He had a bit of charm to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would like to. But that being said, like, Bill Hader as Beep Beep Richie.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that is perfect. That is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I love it. It's fantastic. So obviously, outside of like your major franchises like Star Wars, is probably my most anticipated movie this year.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. I didn't think I was going to enjoy the first one, because they've stuffed up Stephen King movies before.
Yeah.
But it was really, really good.
I mean, so far they've been doing pretty well. I mean, Pet Sematary was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, if this
There
is
was
how it
even
goes,
there was even an Easter egg in that.
yeah, when they stuffed up Dark Tower, I was a bit upset because that's a really good.
Is that Stephen King?
That's a Stephen King novel. It's a series by Stephen King.
Oh.
Definitely worth a read if anyone's a reader out there. I know you don't really read, but
I mean,
you did go and buy the
I bought 2
Necrocomic.
books. Necrocomic-Con.
That's the one.
Yeah, I went out and I bought 2 horror books, 2 horror novels. One was literally called Horror Stories, and the other one is pretty much like the Bible of horror, or Bible of monsters and horror.
Yeah, H.G. Wells's basically Cthulhu Bible. Definitely
H.D. Wells.
H.G. Wells.
H.P.
Lovecraft.
H.P.
H.G. Wells is
Lovecraft.
the science fiction novelist.
And apparently,
did
a few
Time
of his
Machine and
stories are in the is in the Tales of Horror.
Yeah,
that
so
bought.
I imagine most of the ones in the horror book will be H.P. Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
And
a few Stephen King in there as
then
well.
there's obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
I did notice when I was flicking through the contents though that there were a few Arthur Conan Doyle ones who's the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and he's the he'll be most known for being the author of Sherlock Holmes.
You know what? There was a lot of I was gonna buy the Sherlock Holmes set.
I've got them.
I know you've got them
here
all,
somewhere.
but I was gonna buy them because
I'll dig it
the
out
reason
later.
why I mean I went out to buy those books, but I was gonna buy more because the girl who served me was really attractive.
Yeah. Let's not get into that now. It's a family-friendly podcast. I think we will call it there. I think we've talked about everything we want to talk about this week.
Sorry, did we miss anything?
No, I think we're good. There's a few other games that we're not super excited about.
Alright.
But we'll talk about
Alright, if you say so.
well, we'll talk about those on the live stream on Monday.
Yeah, true.
We're back with movie in the week.
Oh yes, we are. We were supposed to do that every week.
Yeah. So, or movie of the whenever I can remember, as it is at the moment. With the release of Pokemon, the Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Go and rewatch. I'd say Pokemon the first movie or Pokemon 2000.
Yep.
Because they're a great
Are
watch.
we each doing a movie of the week, or is it just like a one?
I mean, if you've got one, throw it out there.
Yeah, because I watched Long Shot because it was romance. Go watch Pretty Woman.
Yeah. I mean, if we let him choose every week, he'd just pick 10 Things I Hate About You every week.
Yeah. I love a good romance.
Yeah. I mean, me too. It's fine.
Yeah.
With that being said, it's been a pleasure as usual. We got through a lot of stuff. We got some really excited about some really good movies that are coming, and some not so excited about some really crap movies that might be coming. As always, you can follow us on Facebook, Obviously, we're Real Talk Pop Culture Discussions. We're on Instagram at @realtalk_Pop Culture Discussions. The podcast is available on SoundCloud. If you're listening to it on SoundCloud, we're available on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're on YouTube, we're also available on SoundCloud because we are everywhere.
And by everywhere, we're on those two things. For now.
Yeah, also outside your house in some bushes. You can follow me, Jacob Rice, at Review by Lurch, and you can follow...
And you can follow myself at Jared Kiddo 1.
In case you couldn't work out who that was Jared Kiddo. He's very creative.
Yes.
And I think that's it. We will see you next week at the same time. As always, guys, keep it real.
Stay sexy. Love you guys.
Say it.
Keep it real.